What is going on, everyone? I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. Today we are coming back around for another Depthsposting podcast episode, and today I'm talking to Andrea. I would say her last name, but I'm pretty sure I butcher it, so I'm not even gonna bother to try. But the name will be in the title of the podcast, so you guys will definitely know who I'm talking about. I want to go ahead and start rolling this right out. She's definitely very lovely conversation. We had a very outspoken person. So let's go ahead and just get the show on the road. So this is my conversation with Andrea on Depth Posting Podcast. Okay, I got a recording now too, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I like literally cannot do video because I look like absolute shit right now. So
That is all good. I'm back in my pajamas. The moment I got home, I was like, "Yep, nope, pajamas going back on, and we're just gonna be comfy,
yeah, no,
enjoy this Friday."
I feel that because that's usually how I am. That's just like I don't like usually when I come home from work or I come up from school, I usually always change. I can't like I've been wearing this all day. I just want to wear something that's feasible.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to do anything else.
Be myself.
Myself. Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, no, that's good. So anyway, how are you?
I'm good. I just went and got my Georgia driver's license, so that's real. I'm actually a resident here, so that's weird. Um,
How long have you been? You
but
haven't lived there long?
huh?
You haven't lived there very long?
No, I moved here in September, so I technically should have got it a little sooner than this, but I just wasn't able to. But I moved from Minnesota, where I've basically grown up in the Midwest my whole life. So it's kind of weird being down here in January and it's 55 and raining, and that's normal January weather. And up in Minnesota, they just got like a good foot of snow, and it was negative 20 a couple of weeks ago, and I was just
Oh,
like, well, this is a change. I'm okay with it, though. No complaints.
yeah. No, I used to live nearby. I used to live in North Carolina, so I used to live like a couple states above from you, and now I live all the way up in New York now. But it's funny that you say that you just moved there in September and just now got your license. I've been here since April, still haven't gotten my New York license, so I am really slacking in that department. But no, I really do need to get it. I'm working on it now. I just finding the time to go because like every single time like I plan to go,
hmm
something comes up, whether it's
hmm
work or we got a family thing or I have so much shit going
Totally. And like for me, I have to get it because my Minnesota license plate tabs are expiring. So I have to get Georgia license because now that I live down here and the car's under my name, like I have to just transition everything to be able to just get my tabs renewed basically. So it's like, okay, let's do this. But that was the most organized, fastest DMV, like least stressful trip I've ever been to the DMV for. Like, they have a system, and everywhere else should copy it because it was amazing. And I think I maybe from when I walked in the door to out the door, maybe 20 minutes.
on. Wow,
And
I've
that's
never.
me having my temporary license in hand. 20 minutes.
That's insane. No, every single time I go to the DMV, I have to dedicate a day because it's usually what it takes me.
Mm-hmm.
I usually gotta dedicate like at least like 4 or 5 hours because that's how long the wait is for me all the time. I'm just
Right?
like, man, I can't take this. And then you told me like, oh yeah, fastest DMV. I was like, did you just put fast and DMV in the same sentence? Is that like a thing? There's no way.
I didn't know either. We were both blown away today, both
Yeah,
pleasantly surprised.
I'm
Whoever would
very
have thought?
shook. I'm very shooketh.
Yeah,
Um,
shooketh to the core.
shooketh to the core.
So good.
All right. So So yeah, the whole reason why I have you on today is because, you messaged me a while back ago and you said, you have some things, some stories that you want to tell, and also you just, you have a persona, like you are definitely a person of interest to talk to on here. But let's go ahead and get into, um, something that you wanted to talk about was, you said you had some, coming into where you are now, you had definitely some dark years, you definitely had some dark days, as most of us do.
Mm-hmm.
So, you just want to walk us down what that is? Actually, hell, all right. So let's like go back probably a little bit more. So, like, what was your upbringing like? Like, what was you said you grew up in Minnesota, but like, what was it like living in Minnesota?
Mm-hmm.
And let's just like take it from there, and then move into, you know, that era of your life.
Totally. Okay, so I had a pretty normal childhood. Like, I have a lot of really happy memories with both my parents. I'm the oldest of four. My youngest sibling is about 10 years younger, so we're pretty spread out. But yeah, we grew up. I was always one of the guys. I was the only girl in my neighborhood growing up for the most part. So I played a bunch of video games, and we would be, running around the neighborhood with squirt guns covered in dirt in the summertime and stuff like that. So they have forged my love for Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and, all of that fun stuff. And um, yeah, so it was pretty normal. And then when I was about 11, my parents got a divorce, and that was really hard on like our whole family. I think it hit my little brother, who's 2 years younger than me, the most. It really rocked him. But I kind of became the second parent in both households. So a lot of responsibility for cooking for the younger two siblings. Like the youngest two, they were like 2 and 3 at that time. Changing their diapers, putting them down for naps, taking care of them. Like I said, just the second parent in both households. So I had a lot of responsibility put on me at a young age. Now I'm grateful for that because, I'm about to turn 27 here, and I just feel like there are certain things that maybe are shaking up some of my other friends who are mid-20s, and I'm just like, I've been doing this stuff and dealing with this since I was 18, so I'm grateful for it now, many years down the line. But yeah, so our family it took us a couple of years to really figure out what it looked like to have two houses, and that came with a lot of trials. But I was lucky enough. I got involved with swimming when I was about 7 or 8, and competitive swimming, and that just kind of became my life and my safe place. Um, I was, I don't know, I was pretty good. Like, I wasn't like amazing. I wasn't like an Olympic athlete or on that path or anything like that. But I just really found it to be an escape where I could just go and be with my friends and hang out and put out a physical exertion of the frustrations I was having in my angsty teenage years, and I really, really loved that. And then for me, when I was about 16 is kind of when everything started changing, and it started shifting to some of those more dark years. Around 16, I think most people start experimenting with like alcohol or like weed or something like that. And for me, I was at a party and I was drinking quite heavily. And actually, a guy that I was in high school with, he took advantage of that situation and sexually assaulted me. And that kind of wrecked me, to be honest. It wasn't for a couple of weeks that I even realized what happened. Truly, like, I just felt so not myself and broken and hurt, and didn't really understand what went on. But then, as I started exploring that path of feelings, I recognized that, like, oh, that wasn't okay what happened. And so, as with high school, rumors start spreading, and just some horrific. Now I laugh about them. At that time, absolutely horrific rumors started going around, and it just kind of wrecked the rest of high school for me. So, luckily, I still had swimming, so I kept my head above ground with that. And then I went off to college, and I was on the swim team. It was pretty great. The partying started becoming more frequent. College in general, partying happens,
I know, I'm a college
But
student, don't worry.
yeah, exactly. See, yeah, you're just, especially nowadays in American culture, like that's kind of a thing. And on a sports team as well, that's like a bonding thing. And so that started to increase. And then my sophomore year, I was drinking more frequently than I ever had before. And I actually got offered a job at a nightclub as a go-go dancer. Um, and this, oh, it's so funny now. It was like the gateway to everything, was this specific moment of me accepting that job. So over the next couple of years, I'll spare details because it's not really necessary, but
Yeah,
over
yeah.
the next like 4 years, it just continued to escalate my alcohol consumption. It got me into some harder drug situations, that some things that I kind of use more frequent than recreational. Um, and it escalated from like just go-go dancing and hanging out in a nightclub to actually stripping and like prostituting my body, and just getting in really scary situations, a lot of sexual assault and physical assaults, just stuff like that. And it got to a point after like that was 4 years of escalation, where I just like I didn't want to do it anymore. Like my life sucked. I was drunk or high 7 days a week. I just didn't like. Everyone on the outside thought it was good. Like I had money. I was like things were great, but on the inside, I was just so numb and so dead to everything. And I actually tried to kill myself, and I wound up in the hospital. And for me, that's where like I came to know Jesus. Like I've been raised in a quote unquote Christian home. I call I call what we did, we were the Cheesters, the Christmas Easter people. The only two times you would ever see us at church, normally with the grandparents. Um, and so for me, when I was in the hospital, God kind of came and like had a personal moment with me, and he was just talking with me and saying like, "Hey, are you done with all of this stuff? Are you done with like all of this hurt and all of this heartache? Because if you are, I have really cool things that we can go and do." And I said yes, and like my life has been completely different since then. And like it hasn't been all easy, of course. Like there's still like a lot of heartache that happens. Even just this last year, I went through like some pretty heartbreaking stuff. But like I don't know, I have like a hope and I have like a purpose, and I'm very grateful for that. So that's like the short version of all of that.
No, I get you. Well, the first thing I want to say is that my heart goes out to you. I am,
Mm,
you know, my heart always goes out to anyone that, has always been a victim of sexual assault, no matter the form, no matter where it takes place, it's never a thing that should happen. So,
mhm.
like I said, like my heart does go out to you. And,
Thank you.
um, what was the second thing I wanted to say? And also, thank you, like for putting yourself out there like that. I know that people have definitely done it here before, and I always like it. Always just like takes back and amazes me, because I don't learn these things until after they've said it on the show. Like, I think when we had Gerald on the show, like he had said something, pretty prevalent to what you had just said, and it took me back because it like, first of all, like I know that sexual assault could happen to guys, but it never expected me. I never expected it to happen to someone like him, and just
Yeah.
like I never expected to happen to anyone else that I talked to. But like, that you've said it now that a couple of other people have said it, it definitely does, really make me think about how prominent we in this culture alone that we make that, you
Hmm.
know. So that's definitely something. So, but yes, thank you for putting yourself out there like that, and like I said, my heart does go out to you.
Oh, thank you. No, it's totally good. I just find that I have a lot of healing. I've underwent a lot of healing and a lot of freedom from all of that stuff. And like, when I tell my story, typically people are like, "What? Are you serious?" Because I'm just so not that person anymore. Not putting that person down, but it's just
Yeah.
none of those attributes are really in me or really were supposed to be in me. And so I know I love sharing my story. I love sharing what like God has done in my life, and like just to bring hope to people that yes, this stuff does happen and it sucks and we need to address it and we need to do better as a culture. Rape culture is so real, and even as a female now who's free of all that stuff, I still experience it on a daily basis. Like I lift, I like go to the gym all the time, and I still, even at the gym, like get objectified all the time by men and just stared at, and it's like, guys, like we need to be each other's brothers and sisters and have each other's backs, and so I'm all about anything I can do to bring that to light, especially for guys, because I feel like if they haven't, they typically don't experience it to the same level that women do. And if they haven't had somebody in their life who's been able to be vulnerable and share that, it might not even be on their radar. And so just to even put it on someone's radar can be life changing, because now they can advocate. Now they can stand up for their brothers and sisters who are going through that. They can they can be the change. They can be the person who doesn't just sit there in silence when they see something happening, and they can go and help. And I think that's amazing, and that's really important, and it's totally worth being vulnerable and sometimes feeling a little awkward sharing my story, but it's worth it in the end.
Absolutely. But no, I think the thing for me is that, I know about it so well because I kind of like introduced to it at a young age. Like I've never been a victim of it, but
Mm-hmm.
I've been around people, too many people that have,
Mm-hmm.
that have been victims of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like that would range from like, people I just knew in school to like family members of my own, and it's just, and everything in between. So I think
Mm-hmm.
like that's why like I'm like a huge advocate for it as well. Like this year, this semester for my college semester, I am actually leading like an event against dating violence, sexual
Wow.
assault, all these things, because it's definitely something that that definitely needs to be addressed. And if we're better to start than in a community like my own home,
Exactly.
especially this home that that I just moved into, because back where I was living before, it definitely wasn't. So I didn't really have a lot of freedom to do these things because they never really opened up opportunities like this.
Yeah.
So, and I think, a lot more places need to start opening opportunities up like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely because, there are people out there that definitely want to, say something about it and, say the right things about it instead of, people that we have now that are now saying the wrong things about it. So,
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. And it's so important for us to have like men like you stepping into that, because I feel like, women, we say, we point this stuff out, but it's so much more powerful to a man when it comes from a man being like, yo, dude, that's not cool. Like, shaping up, like figure your stuff out and correct it, because this
yeah,
isn't what we do to our women or our men or, whatever it is. I think it's more powerful, has more of an impact than when a lot of times women say something. So that's so cool, dude. Thank you for doing that.
absolutely. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, I just don't understand, like, the mentality. It's just, like, what is so difficult about, respecting someone, like, literally just another person just because they're a different gender than you. It doesn't make any sense.
Right? I
And then
know. I totally agree.
the same thing is like the same thing with race and everything else. It's just like they're still people. They still look like you. They still work like you. They still talk like you. They're not doing anything different than you are. And I don't understand why you can't have respect for the same people. It just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense for me.
I mean, it blows me away sometimes. Like, that's probably been one of the harder things moving down to the South to see, is a lot of the racism and then just the sexism. Like, it's not as prevalent as I thought it was going to be, but it's definitely more frequent than what I've experienced in Minnesota. We have a pretty high refugee population up in Minnesota.
Mm.
And we're typically a more open liberal state, and more accepting. And I really enjoyed that about Minnesota. But now I'm in Georgia. It's very conservative, Bible Belt, all of that. So when I see those things, I'm almost like taken aback for a moment. I'm just like, whoa, I forgot for a brief second that this is such a thing. Because
Yeah,
it's always a thing, but this is such a thing still nowadays. And then it just kind of fires me up to be like, okay, well, like, what can we do to make this not a thing anymore? What can I do? How can I speak up? How can I help? What power do I carry that I can add to this fight?
exactly. You see,
Mm-hmm.
the thing I've always said about the thing with this, like this podcast, like the show alone, is that you know, I knew going in that I was going to hear a bunch of different stories. And the thing for me is that, if like I carry this with the group as well, like just the posting group as well, is that if someone's gonna come in there, and if we can at least make one change in one person's life with
Mhm.
what the way the community is now, then we've done something great. Like this is meaningful. Like I could we this could die and I wouldn't have any regret. Like that's
Mhm.
like, and now that you've said this, and now that I've had like I've heard it, and a bunch of other people are gonna hear it as well. I think someone's probably going to come across it, and they're going to think about it. They're going to think, wow, okay, well, I guess she's right. I guess they're right. And
Mhm.
so I think you've definitely accomplished like our group goal with everything you've just said just now. So thank you for
Mhm.
that.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. But another thing I also wanted to address is that you have really bounced back from what you were before.
Mhm.
Like you said, you just did a move. I just read the article you just did. So there's that. You're also doing photography now, which is something I
Mhm.
also want to get into a little bit. But but how does that really feel for you now? Like now that you're like a completely different person, like it's not you like you said that none of those things that you were doing before are really prevalent in your life now. So how does it feel to be like a completely different person?
Yeah, for me personally, there's just so much freedom that comes with it. Like I still, I still have struggles. I'm still a human. Like I still, have bad days and
Of
I still
course.
go through valleys, of course. But like all in all, like there's just freedom and peace that comes with a lot of that. Because I'm making the conscious choice and effort to not have things in my life that are going to negatively influence me. So, um, unfortunately, I don't have too many connections with the people who I knew in that world because they were just not the most positive influences and not the most encouraging. But then that made room for me to allow like positive, encouraging, loving, accepting people into my life, which is really cool. It also just opened up my eyes to my like worth and my value. And because that was really broken, of course, in that kind of world, and just like the sex industry in general, you're broken down to a point where you just carry no worth or value except for what a man or a woman gives you for that brief time that you're with them. Um, and then that moment's done, and then you're completely empty again, and then you go kind of searching for the next um, affirmation that you can receive. And so now for me, for me, a lot of mine goes with my faith, but now I like understand my worth and my value and that I have a purpose in this life. I don't know 100% what it is, but I feel like I'm starting to figure it out a little bit. And one of the great things has just been able to discover my passions, because I understand that like I hold worth, I hold value, I have purpose, and I can go after these dreams. I can go after these passions. And one of those ones that you mentioned is photography. So after I was in the hospital, a couple months later, the Lord put it on my heart to go and apply for this mission organization, this mission trip called the World Race. You actually go to 11 countries for 11 months.
Oh wow.
So I was in Southeast Asia for 6 months, Southern Africa for 3 months, and Eastern Europe for 2 months. And like, honestly, that changed my life. That was probably one of the biggest factors to where I am today. Um, it like just gave me an opportunity to get out of my comfortable environment and really figure out like who I am now that I have this new freedom. Like who's Andrea? What does she like? What does she enjoy? What doesn't she like? And that was really, really an amazing experience. But while I was there, was the first time a camera got put in my hands. So I had really, before that time, no interest in anything artistic or creative. Most people would say I was very uncreative and very unartistic beforehand. I'm a very math-minded, very logic-minded person. I like what I can see and what I can touch. And so I got a camera put in my hands, and it's just like my eyes were open for the first time. And I just went around while I was traveling and meeting people and hearing their stories, and started taking pictures of what I was seeing and experiencing and sharing them with people. And it just kind of continued to develop. And then when I came home after traveling, some more doors got opened, and it's now turned into a business. It's a growing business. It's still it's still small, but I do portrait and wedding photography as like the main part of it. But then my passion is concert photography. So I just get to go to shows. I write for the magazine, the article that you read, Monkey Goose magazine, and I just get to go to shows. I get to like meet artists and hang out with them and just take really awesome photos and just capture that moment of the performance and all of the emotion, the crowd and the atmosphere, and just like take like a split second and just capture that moment for forever and share it with people, which I've loved that. It's been one of the most fun things that's happened in the last year, for sure.
So how long have you? Sorry. So how long ago did you do that mission trip?
So that was in 2015 that I
Okay.
was traveling.
So that
Yep.
was only 2 years ago, or
Yep.
3 years ago at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've only been doing photography for about 3 years now.
Yep. So I started my business officially like midway through 2016. So yeah, it's only been like a year and a half, and I actually only started doing concert photography. I just was looking this up the other day. In April of 2017. So it's only been like 8 months for me of actually doing concert photography.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great thing, especially because like with the work that you produce, it looks like you've had way more experience in 3 years.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I just think, you know, like I love what I do, so I love spending time researching and learning and looking up new techniques and figuring out new editing styles. And I've been blessed to have a lot of photographer friends, and like it photographer community is very similar to like the Silent Planet community or just the metal music scene in general, where it's just you genuinely want each other to succeed at whatever you're doing. And luckily, my friends who are photographers are stable and like and confident enough in their own style that they'll like show me like, oh, hey, this is how I achieve this, and then I can take it, put my own twist on it, and see how it fits with my style. And it's been really, really fun growing experience for sure.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Actually, from what I understand, you haven't been a member of the music like the heavy music community for very long, have you?
No, nope. I went through a pretty rough patch last year, starting in like January, February of 2017. And like I had been introduced to it. In high school, I used to go to like pop punk shows. There's a local venue in Minnesota called The Garage, and it's absolutely awesome. And we would just like go and hang out on a Friday night because, we're 16 and we have nothing else we can do. So let's for $5 go to the show. So I did that a little bit. I loved Escape the Fate, A7X, like Good Charlotte. Those were my jams back in high school. But I never got super into this scene until like 2016. I went to Warped Tour for the first time ever. And that's kind of where it all got started. I saw In Heart's Wake. They were the first band right when we walked in. And it was basically from that moment I was hooked. And like I said, in the beginning of 2017, I kind of went through like a rough patch. And that is where music it became alive to me. And it allowed me to feel and express emotions that before that point, maybe I didn't feel like I could. Like I said, I'm typically a very happy person, and I'm typically like joyful and bubbly and all of that. And this allowed me to be sad and be angry and like be hurt in like a safe space. And it was really, really cool and touched me on a deep level. And I don't know, like same kind of thing like photography. My eyes just all of a sudden were open to it. And I'm just like, this is what I want, and this is where I want to be. And then as I got to know people more and I got to be a part of the community, I'm like, this is awesome. I just want to hang out with these people and talk with them and learn about new bands and, try out all these new things and go to these shows. And yeah, it just kind of became home, to be honest.
And so doing concert photography, right?
Hmm.
Like those shows get insane, like especially like in clubs. So
Hmm.
like have you ever like had like hardships, like trying to take photos while people are like stage diving or moshing or anything?
Yeah, I actually have a great example of this. It was the craziest show I've ever been to in my life. Well, not that I've been to a ton, but thus far in my life, craziest show. It was Your Memorial. They're a Minnesota local band. They had their farewell show in St. Paul in November, just a couple months ago. And there are a couple of bands, Solidarity is one of them, who they came back together just for that show because they were all friends. So they did some um, reunion shows, and I was not expecting this. So it was a sold out show. This venue was absolutely packed. They could not have sold one more ticket and fit one more body in there. Would have been impossible.
Oh man.
But this band, I had never seen them before. I'd never heard of them before, and they were right before Your Memorial. And luckily, because it was so packed, I was given access to be up on the stage because otherwise I wasn't going to get photos at all. But this band apparently is known for being like so hard and just absolutely crazy. And the moment they start playing, I'm not kidding you, like 20 people just start stage diving and just knocking people flat on the
Oh
floor.
man.
And like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like people almost kicked my camera like a couple of times as they're stage diving and just flipping in the air. And it was crazy. So it was really hard to get photos because I was kind of stuck in one spot, one corner of the stage because like obviously don't want to get in the way of the performers, but also don't have any wiggle room on the other side because people are stage diving and like moshing like I've never seen before. And it was really cool. I wish I would have got a video of it. I wasn't thinking. I was just trying to protect my camera baby, but
Protect your camera and probably protect yourself as well.
a little bit, yeah, definitely. But it was such a cool experience. I still got some really cool photos. I was a little more restricted just on creativity of like angles and stuff because like I said, I really was stuck in one spot. So unfortunately for that, I don't have the variety I typically do when I do shows like that. But it was such a cool experience. Trying to come to know Blake, the vocalist of Your Memorial, just seeing him at shows. He's so into the local scene there and just supporting like up and coming artists. And he's like a great like husband and father. He's just an all-around great role model for people. But yeah, and so it was just really cool to see like him and like all the guys in their element doing their thing one last time, what they love to do with like all of the fans, all of the lives they've touched, and it was just really, really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite? So like from all the shows that you've done so far, what's your favorite? What do you think you did the best at? Like, what was your favorite show to do photography at?
Oh, um, my favorite. Honestly, probably Warp Tour last year of 2017. I was supposed to go to the Minnesota one, but then my cousin married that day, and it was very important for me to be there. So I was lucky enough. I had a friend who road tripped with me to the Chicago date, which was the day before. I just got like I don't know, just like once in a lifetime moments. So that article, the Silent Planet one that got posted today, those photos are from Warp Tour. The lighting was just perfect. It was overcast. And then I don't know. It was just luck, I guess. But these moments that I just captured they were editing. And then that was when I had developed kind of the editing style that I like more dark and moody and dramatic. And I just think it really paired well with the moments that I captured. And yeah, those are definitely still some of my favorite. I'm very excited for Warp Tour this year. Sad, very bittersweet though that
Yeah,
it's the
very
last
bittersweet,
one.
sad thing. It's sad too because uh, last Warped Tour was actually my first Warped Tour. of- it took me so long to go. I've been wanting to go since I was a kid, but
Oh,
because where I was living before, like the venue was so far, and nobody that I knew was gonna go, or they
mhm.
did go and then didn't tell me till last minute, or I don't know, some weird stuff like that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, this year was like the first time. Last year was like the first time I could go because the venue is only like 30 minutes away.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, so that was really cool.
Heck
Actually,
yeah.
yeah, it's like near the beach and everything too. So
Oh,
definitely.
that would be beautiful.
Well, you don't get so the way it's set up, it's like in a lot near the beach, so
Yeah.
you don't actually get to like see the beach and everything. But it's like
What?
you still get like the cool ocean breeze sort of feeling.
Yeah,
So
that would be amazing. I love the ocean. Like I swam for 15 years, so water and me were real good friends.
yeah,
But yeah, so being able to listen to metal music while I can smell the ocean and maybe even hear the waves every now and then, that would be amazing. That's gonna be so cool for you.
yeah, no, that was probably like one of the best days of my life because I just saw so many bands that I like gotten to see or I've seen before, but they killed it this time.
hmm
So and then there are bands that I definitely need to see in a club now, like Counterparts. Counterparts is probably like one of my favorite bands of all
Oh,
time at this point. I
their album last year, like that's fire. That was
that
so
is
good.
absolute fire. I love that album. I feel like they've never ever, they're like one of those bands that have like really never made a bad song.
No.
No, and it's amazing. But the first time I saw them was on Warped, and I'm seeing them again in a club for the first time next month because of they're doing that tour of Architects and Stick to Your Guns.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I will be at the Atlanta Day. I'm hopefully gonna shoot that, so I'm very excited for it.
hopefully, especially if you can get pictures of Architects, like people are gonna like
Oh,
if you post this to the group, people will love you.
okay, fingers crossed, prayers up. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel I don't know. It's not that I don't think that they're like a hard band to to work with. I
hmm
just think because of the reputation that they do have, um, maybe things will get difficult, but not because of them, just because of like the reputation that they do have and maybe the
hmm
people working the venue
Yeah.
or whatever. Because I know like the venue here, I've been told isn't the best.
Okay.
Um, it's called the PlayStation. It's called the PlayStation Theater. It's called like the venue itself is good. It's just the security and everything. So
mm
I don't know what to expect from it
hmm
because the last venue I went to here, it was it was great. Like the security was great. The freaking security guard smoked weed and he was like, "Hey, you want to pass me some or something?" I thought that was really funny.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so that was that. But I don't know because also I don't know if there are gonna be any locals on that show
Yeah.
because I haven't seen any. So, like I haven't seen the tour poster for our show. I haven't really seen a tour poster for any of the other shows. At least like, I've seen tour posters, but I haven't seen the like local support. So
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if like all the bands are gonna get like a long set or what.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a thing, maybe in like bigger hub cities where all of these tours go through. Because like in Minnesota, it is it's very normal to have one, two, or three local bands open up for these tours. But in Georgia, like I don't know if I've been to a single show that have had a local opener at any of them this thus far. Like you
Yeah,
have to actually go to smaller venues and they just have a full list of locals that play. They don't really open. It's weird. So I don't know if maybe that, like now that you're in New York and I'm in Atlanta, we're in big cities, if maybe that's what it is, but
well, I mean,
it's super weird.
I've seen. So when we went to go see for a King,
hmm
um, there was a support band on it. There was like a local support band on it, but I didn't know that there was until like the very last minute. Like when we like there was I think it was like their guitarist or something, and he had came out like just messing with ball online, and he told us like right before we were about to go in like, oh yeah, hey, just make sure you guys pay attention, make sure you guys listen to where the first band to play. I'm just like, wait a minute, I thought Phineas was the first band to play.
hmm
And then he's like, no, we're local support, and I'm just like, I didn't know there was local support, so yeah. But I will
Yeah.
say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I will say that the support, like the local scene here, is more diverse than it was in North Carolina. Like a lot of the bands in North Carolina, like not to shit on the North Carolina community or local support. Yeah, I can't speak. The
Good.
local, just the local bands in North Carolina. I'm not trying to shit on them, but a lot of like I kind of just want to say like I couldn't tell who was who because they all
Mm,
sounded the same.
wow.
But it's here. It's different. But I think it's also because like New York has like the the background for both hardcore and metalcore. So
hmm
I think a lot of people can draw influence from that, and I think a lot of people here strive to be better, to be the next
hmm
big thing out of New York because we have a lot of bands that have come out of here.
hmm
So,
Heck yeah, definitely.
but yeah, so I actually am wondering if there's gonna be local support for Architects. I think any band that could get local support for Architects will probably lose their mind.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. Like that's one of the things I liked is being able to see my friends up there opening for really cool bands. Like, I also went to the Fitbird King Phineas show. I was home for the holidays at that point, and I went to that show in Minnesota, and one of my friends' bands actually had the opportunity to open for them, and we were just like freaking out. We're like, do you realize who you're opening for? Like, this is awesome. Like, these are the people who we listen to on a daily basis, and who, their music has touched us and changed us, and they're just awesome people, and you get to open and hang out with them. Like, that is just such a cool opportunity. So I hope that Architects has some locals opening. I just think it's an amazing opportunity. And then it also can allow, especially like Architects, like big names, where it's going to bring out a variety of different people.
Exactly.
They just can be introduced to more of the local scene too, which I think is really important.
Absolutely. That's what I always think about, like, whenever, like, a big name actually has locals on them. I think, well, who was it that I saw? There was a show that I went to that had another big name on them. I don't remember who it was, but I mean, they had locals on them, and I'm just like, it's gonna be really cool for them to actually, like, have, okay, so I saw Memphis Mayfire, and
Hmm.
We Came as Romans. They did, like, that co-headliner. I
Yep.
don't know if you know, I think it was back in, like, 2015 that they did it. Too
Okay.
late to wear one with food. I don't know. But they had a local band from. So we went to South Carolina for that show
Mm.
because it was my birthday, and I was like, man, I want to go see a show for my birthday. So
Heck yeah.
we road trip down from North to South Carolina, and we saw a band actually from North Carolina opening for Memphis, and We Came, and I think I like that kind of like blew my mind. I was like, that it's really cool that a band like this, like just like a local band, can open for names that are like so big in the scene, like so many people know who they are.
Hmm.
It's like you probably aren't in the scene if you don't like, not that you aren't in it, but you probably can't be in the scene without knowing at least hearing the name once. So, it's definitely, I definitely do, you know, appreciate the bands that can still allow local support and not have like a big head over it, because I know there's definitely bands like that. So.
Definitely. Not to throw any names out there. We'll avoid
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I'll spare you. All right, don't worry, because otherwise I'll slander you. But yeah, um, but yeah. Other than that, I think yeah, I definitely do think that's a cool thing. But
Yeah.
and I definitely do love, you know, the fact that like even with like concert photographers too, like there's bands out there who don't have like a big head about, being like, well, no, like we want this person, and like we already brought a guy, and we don't want anyone else doing it, because I know like some bands do have their own photographers
Hmm.
that come out and do their stuff, but they still allow other other photographers to come also and do to also take pictures, because I think it's a cool opportunity for everybody. So,
Totally.
but
And
yeah,
I just, and like as artists, they should understand, as it is with their music, like Phineas and Silent Planet and Fit for a King, none of them are going to sound alike. So if they all play at the same place, they don't sound alike. Same thing with photography. Like, we all use different gear, different settings. We have different eyes, different angles. We're going to do different editing styles. So even if we're all there covering it, it's going to all of it's going to turn out differently. Even if we all use the same equipment, the settings in our eyes and what we go for, it's in edit, it's going to all look completely different. And so I think it's so cool. And I also then love talking to the touring photographers and being like, hey dudes, how did you get that gig? Because that's like goals for me right there. Like 2018, I would love if photography just continued to take off, and if I could just do wedding photography spring and summer, beginning of fall, and then just tour with bands fall and winter. Like, that would be dream life. So if there are any bands out there listening, wants to give your girl a try, give me a shot, hit me up. But like, that would be dream for sure.
absolutely. What are some of the bands that you want to do it for? Silent Planet, but I know that's definitely one.
Oh, Silent Planet, Fit for a King, Phineas would be amazing. I love a lot. Let's see who else. Those are like my big boys. Veil Maya would be amazing. Like, I just saw that Veil Maya Dance Gavin Dance.
For the UK.
The Euro
Yeah,
tour one,
yeah.
that would be awesome.
I think
Um,
that's so. Don't I hope nobody like quotes me on this, because I definitely don't know how true it is. But I heard that co-headliner is coming to the States at some point. Yeah,
What?
yeah, that's what
Oh,
I've heard. I've heard. I don't have any real confirmation, but so nobody hold this against me. But I've heard that that they're bringing that to the States. If it's like, and I don't know if it's gonna be like if it's a successful in Europe or because it's really high in demand, for that tour to come here. So
yeah,
we'll
that would
see.
be amazing. I'd be so for that. I just want to hear Mishka live. That's all I want to hear. So,
Yeah,
but yeah. So I mean, really, anybody
yeah,
or like or I don't
definitely
know that,
definitely in Hearts, no,
huh?
definitely in Hearts way.
Oh my gosh, yes. And Wake would be amazing. Like I just love all of the photographers that they take are phenomenal, and they all have that very similar style where it's like very all of the lights and silhouettes and glowy and very like muted colors, but they're still warm. Oh,
Yeah,
I love them. And like they're just such good dudes, you know? They're not just none of them. I don't think any of them are Christian or anything, but like I just love their values and their be good people, take care of the planet. I think some of them, if not, I think I don't think all of them. I think a couple of them though are vegan and like vegetarian. It's very much about like y'all. We just have to do better as humans because right now we keep messing up and
absolutely.
we're killing the planet and each other. It's not
Yeah,
good.
absolutely. All right, so before I let you go,
Yeah.
let me allow you to plug your business photography business.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so my wedding and portrait photography is Andrea Marie Photography. And I'm based out of Gainesville, Georgia. I have Facebook and Instagram. It's under Andrea Marie Photos. And then for my concert photography, I'm on Instagram for that, and it's Amped Up Photos, like AMPED Up Photos. And yeah, and that's it.
All right, so you heard it here. If you live in Georgia and you know anyone that needs photography, definitely go hit up Andrea, please, because she definitely does good work. And I said that for any other photographer that we've been here, like Caleb, we had, and she's in Los Angeles. So if you guys also know anyone in Los Angeles, freaking Las Vegas area, I don't know why I called it Las Vegas, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. I'm sorry, I'm still waking up. So if you know anyone in the Las Vegas area, that needs photography done, I think she mainly does concert photography. Then you guys can also go hit her up as well.
Heck yeah.
But
Yeah, go support your local artist.
go support your local artists for sure.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you, Andrea. I definitely do appreciate your time and talking, and definitely the stories that you've told have definitely been, very. Um, they definitely, it's definitely been something that you know people need to hear. You know, so
Hmm. Thanks, I appreciate it.
not a problem. All right, so I hope you have a good day and good luck with your work calls. I know that those could probably also be a drag.
Yeah, this should be fun. But enjoy your Friday, enjoy your
All right,
weekend, have
all right,
some fun time with the fam.
all right. You too. Thank you.
Bye.
And that about wraps it up. So we'll be back again next week with another episode of the podcast. And next Friday, definitely going to try to keep it rolling on a schedule. And so I hope you guys keep checking it out. I hope you guys are enjoying it. If you guys have any comments on, what I can fix or, or anything more that you guys would want to see or anything that you guys would want to see, either leave a message on Facebook or leave a comment in the comment section or shoot me an email at depthspostingpodcast@gmail.com or, yeah, there you go. And that about wraps it up. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day and we'll see you next time.